In this video, we'll talk about the meaning of Zen. You may not have practiced it, but you must surely have heard of Zen. It is a common word, doing the rounds in different circles, primarily where people are looking for a way to simplify their lives. In fact, Zen has often been associated with aspects like tranquility, mindfulness, concentration, and anything else that can help restore some order in today's fast-paced and chaotic lives. In essence, Zen tries to understand the meaning of life without being distracted by logical or rational thought. The practice does demand an intense discipline which, when followed properly, will let you get better at dodging distractions, but this is easier said than done. If you come from the western part of the hemisphere where intellectual thinking and multitasking dominates, it can be challenging to adapt to Zen. The origins of Zen. Historically, Zen has been practiced for centuries in Oriental monasteries by monks and goes by various names. For instance, the Chinese refer to it as Ch'an, the Vietnamese as Tien, and the Koreans as Seon. But it is the Japanese rendering of this aspect of Buddhism that is known as Zen. Zen Buddhism was brought to China by the Indian monk Bodhidharma sometime in the 6th century. There it became known as Ch'an, and then spread to Korea and Japan. Under the 6th Chinese patriarch Huineng, Zen shed many of its inherent Indian trappings, becoming more Chinese. It also became more of the Zen that we now think of. But it was not until the middle of the 20th century that Zen Buddhism became popular in the West. Zen, as we know it today, is a way of living where people find happiness and peace within themselves. They learn to be more aware of their surroundings and the present, rather than be distracted by an influx of information overkill. Zen teaches these individuals to lead a more disciplined and simple life, instead of a contrived and artificial one. So, if you are looking for a way to incorporate more Zen into your life, then read on. Here is a quick rundown of what to include and what to exclude from your life as you start your Zen journey. What to do? At its very basic, Zen teaches you to be fully aware and live in each moment. This means you should work with a single-pointed awareness. For instance, if you're cleaning, then you're fully present for the act of cleaning alone. If you're spending time with family, they are your only focus and nothing else. Or if you're relaxing at home, then you're not thinking about the day's events or worrying about tomorrow. Keeping things simple and focused also lets you understand that less is more. So while you may be doing less, you're giving it your everything and coming out with a gratified experience. Keeping things minimal will also help you figure out what's important and unimportant in life. In a way, it's decluttering your everyday affairs. But decluttering here doesn't only refer to your physical life, as in dealing with everyday activities and chores, but also decluttering your thoughts. Oftentimes, you get caught up in conflicting or confusing thoughts, which can really affect your state of mind. As such, you become distracted, absent-minded, and even distraught. This, in turn, shows up in your behavior, possibly making you fearful, troubled, and preoccupied. You need to rid yourself of all this to lead a Zen life. Then there is your attachment to your goals and dreams. Now, this is not a bad thing as long as you work towards it positively. But if you reach a point where you convince yourself that you can't be happy without it, then you're in trouble. This kind of attachment is not healthy at all. Unfortunately, many people fall victim to this mentality. To enter the Zen zone in your life, you need to answer a few questions first. Ask yourself why you're pursuing your goal. Is it because you believe you'll find happiness? Or is it something that will let you help others? Perhaps you consider it worth spending your time on. Now look on the flip side and see what this pursuit is costing you in terms of your own well-being or the well-being of others. If you find telling yourself that you'll be happy when you achieve your goal, that itself is stopping you from enjoying the moment. Anything that stops you from living in the moment also holds you back from realizing happiness and peace in that very same moment. So, to truly experience a Zen life, you need to work both on your body and your mind. On a physical level, practices like breathing, smiling more, and meditation can all help calm down the chaos in life. But the same can also have a surprisingly calm effect on your mind. If the chaos in your physical life is leveled, then your state of mind will also relax. What not to do? Just as it's important to know what steps to follow when adopting a Zen lifestyle, it's equally important to know what not to do as well. You need to find peace with yourself first before you can proceed onto anything else. And to do that, you need to be happy with who you are. In other words, you can say that you need to get to like yourself better first. How do you do that? Here's how. For starters, you need to stop comparing yourself or your situation to others. When you compare, you sabotage your happiness and start to feel lacking. Negative thoughts like what you have or don't have start to creep up, and you make yourself suffer for no reason. You need to stop that right away. That said, you also need to stop judging. Judging never feels good because judgment is a heavy burden. Another thing you may want to work on is worry. If you want to adopt Zen habits for a healthier, more peaceful lifestyle, you should cut down on worrying about everything. Oftentimes, worry stems from a fear or an urge to feel in control. If you sense that you're starting to lose control, you begin to worry. This is exactly what doesn't work in a Zen lifestyle. Worrying only creates a negative energy within yourself and around you. And with a troubled head on your shoulders, you won't be able to focus on the moment. The do's and don'ts of Zen are a mixed bag. Some are straightforward and quick, while others are more of a work in progress. But in the long run, if you follow these steps consistently, they will come together and change your life in a big way. In this video, we'll talk about don't forget to breathe. You can call this a physical and mental aspect of Zen habits. While the practice itself may be physical in nature, it does have truly amazing mental benefits. Physical because it involves the innate actions of inhalation and exhalation, and mental because your mind and your breathing rate are always linked. Just think about it. A rapid, out-of-control breath results in a rapid, out-of-control mind, or vice versa. In times of emotional stress, your nervous system gets the better of you. This leads to an increase in heart rate and tense muscles. Your breathing becomes rapid, and this impacts your body overall. However, not many people are aware of the healing qualities that breathing holds. Your breath can be used to deal with these fluctuations. This, in turn, results in muscle relaxation and less pressure on the nervous system. On the other hand, when your breathing is calm and controlled, so is your mind. Here is how controlled breathing can help you achieve a Zen life. Breathing for relaxation. Have you ever tried taking a really deep breath? Try it and you will feel more relaxed and less anxious right away. You have no idea how powerful your breath is. Making breathing exercises part of your life can bring about significant improvement, not only in your quality of breath, but also the quality of life. You will feel increased vibrancy and clarity that you may have been missing out on for years. When practicing breathing, opt for calm breathing. Calm breathing basically involves breathing slowly, but is very effective. It reduces physical symptoms such as panic attacks and anxiety. This is a therapy that can be practiced anywhere, anytime. With this technique, when you breathe to relax, you actually teach yourself stress management. And the importance of a calm and controlled mind in Zen habits cannot be undermined. Even people who don't have a Zen lifestyle have been learning to control their breath for a long time. That's because it has long been a method of calming the mind in yoga and meditation. And now it's even being used to quell anxiety and curb panic attacks in medical and psychiatric practices. In essence, controlled breathing helps clear the mind and body of negativity. The same also activates the mind and soul. Ancient yogis have spent ages practicing and refining optimal breathing techniques. To them, breathing is the easiest and most natural way to release stress. The benefits. Breathing for relaxation holds massive benefits. There are many on a physical level, such as detoxification. In fact, when you breathe, your body potentially releases about 70% of toxins. Correct exhalation releases optimal carbon dioxide, which also rids the body of toxins. As this constant state of detox takes place, your mind also clears out and you feel better. In another area, breathing acts as a masseuse for your organs. The stomach, liver, pancreas all receive massage therapy when you breathe. The continuous movements of the diaphragm and abdomen during breathing allows circulation to improve, and studies state that breathing helps strengthen muscles. Proper oxygen supply also helps reduce the burden on the heart. When you breathe properly, you make your lungs efficient. The lungs start receiving more oxygen, which benefits the heart. This reduces pressure on the heart to deliver oxygen to the tissues. On its benefits for the mind, proper breathing helps reduce tension, relaxes the mind, and can even elevate your mood. You know that when you're in a state of anger, your body tightens and tenses and your breathing becomes shallow. As this happens, the supply of oxygen to the body diminishes. But learning to breathe correctly allows the oxygen to properly reach all parts of the body. Likewise, breathing properly has even been connected to reducing the formation of clots. When you breathe purposefully, you allow tightened spots to soften. When this happens, you are able to bring clarity as the body is relaxed. You are also aware that when the mind is at ease, you feel less emotional. With a content state of mind, there is a sense of strength that the body surpasses. In this way, breathing helps reduce emotional stress and the uneasy feelings that come with it. So many of these effects of mindful breathing will make your Zen lifestyle even more effective. You know by now that when your mind is happy, your body responds in the like. So here are a few techniques to relax your mind and body. Some techniques. The complete yogi breath. The principle behind this technique is to fill up your entire abdomen and chest with air. Fresh air should enter your body like a new life force and renew it. This internal process also stretches your spine, tones internal organs, and improves circulation throughout the body. To do this, exhale completely so that everything hollows out. Following a short pause, inhale deeply. As you inhale, feel your belly expand outward. Next, move your focus to your lower back and sides, filling them with air. Once you've filled these with air, shift your focus to your rib cage, filling the midsection of your abdomen. Allow your ribs to puff out. Finally, fill your upper chest area all the way to your collarbones. This should also lift your heart as you come into a tall posture. This entire inhale may be done in a few quick seconds or stretched to an extended period of 15 or so seconds. For the exhale, keep your chest lifted and your posture tall. Starting with the belly first, exhale and empty the belly. Then move toward your spine and empty the midsection. Round off the exhale with emptying the chest. Ideally, your exhale should be longer than your inhale, or at least of equal length. Bellows breath. Inspired by yoga and other meditation techniques, this method can help improve alertness, clarify your mind, and make you energetic. If you feel lazy, hazy, or as if you're moving in slow motion, try this breathing technique. Sitting up tall, relax your shoulders and take a few deep breaths in and out from your nose. Begin the bellows breath by exhaling through your nose, follow by inhaling through the nose once again. This practice should ensure that your breath comes from your diaphragm. As you breathe in and out, make sure to keep your head, neck, shoulders, and chest absolutely still. Complete one cycle of 10 breaths, followed by a 15 to 30 second break. Start the next round with 20 breaths. Break, and then do a final round of 30 bellows breaths. This practice is best done first thing in the morning when you need to start your day off right. You can also do this during your midday slump or right before a workout session. Breath counting. This is a simple technique used in Zen practices to calm an active mind. Start with abdominal inhales and exhales. At the end of the first exhale, make a mental note saying 1. Inhale, exhale, and mentally count 2. Continue breathing until you reach 10. Next, start counting backwards until you reach 1. The point here is to keep track of the numbers so that your attention stays put and doesn't detract. This exercise is a strength-building one for the mind. It removes distracting thoughts and builds concentration power. So if you've never given much thought to your breathing, now's the time to get started. In this video, we'll discuss about switch your perspective. Oftentimes, people feel that their focus is not under their control. You may have had the same suspicions about yourself. But the truth is that what you focus on is what you experience. If you spend too much time focusing on things you don't need, your mind gets caught in a web. You try to multitask, switch from one thing to the next, or simply end up putting things off. And with time, it becomes hard to break out of the habit of switching and being distracted all the time. However, the simple truth is that your happiness depends on the way you think and how you respond to the environment you live in. Perspective has a huge role to play when it comes to your happiness. So how do you train your mind to stay more focused, and how can you switch your perspective? Here are some steps you can take to do so. Stay with one thing at a time. Too many people are guilty of doing too many things at the same time. When you demand your attention to jump from one thing to another, you will have a busy, fractured, and most likely unproductive day. Switching tasks frequently requires a supreme level of functioning, meaning that you have to use a lot of brain power and energy even before you start a task. No wonder it ends up draining your effectiveness. Zen teaches you to do the exact opposite. With Zen habits in your life, you will choose a task that needs doing and then stick with it. A good starting point may be to ask why this particular task is important for you. If you can give yourself a good enough reason why this task means more than others, then that's where you need to start. As you start the task, shift all your attention to it. Shut out any distractions and clear your mind. Don't think about or start doing something else until you have finished what you started. Train yourself to focus on the task at hand and resist the urge to look elsewhere. This practice will keep you steadily grounded in the present and let you give your best to whatever task you choose to do. This rule is applicable to even the most simple of things. For instance, when you eat, just eat. When you pour water, just do that. When you go walking, just walk. In instances where you may have to move on to something else, at least put away the unfinished task to return to later. Taking it slow in this way doesn't mean you're being lazy. What it does mean is that you're doing it right. You may be doing less, but you're doing it well. On the way, you'll have to deal with everyday distractions, like the digital world, for instance. In fact, There is now a lot of research pointing to the fact that digital distractions are making people not only dumb but also twitchy. Not only does this concern stop you from concentrating, it also stops you from resting, both of which are equally damaging. Focus on the process. Changing perspective requires your focus. You can't adopt a positive life if you can't learn to focus. Focusing on the process and how things should be dealt with will make you wiser. Here, it's important that instead of focusing on the outcome, focus on the process. This will help you in quite a few different ways. For instance, focusing on the process will eliminate external factors. What this means is that decisions based on outcomes often end up using wrong techniques. But when you focus on how to get things done, you are better able to polish your skills. As you work your way through something, you realize the pitfalls and also discover ways to remediate the problems. Plus, focusing on the process also lets you enjoy the moment. You become more engaged in the present and at what you're doing, and you will do it better too. Another perk of focusing on the process rather than the outcome is that you get more control over what you're doing. In other words, you don't have control over the outcome, but you do have control over the process. When you give something your best, the outcome is likely to be good as well. If anything, focusing on the process will make you more confident in the way it lets you learn skills. These skills will make you better at decision making. You will have fewer worries about the future, and your focus will be on the present. To better focus on the process, engage in only one thing at a time. Do the work slowly and deliberately. This doesn't mean lazily, only that you need to take your time and move purposefully. When doing so, make your actions deliberate instead of random. There is also a need to put space between things. What this means is that try not to schedule things too close together, but leave some gaps in between. This will give you a more relaxed structure to work with. It will also provide some wiggle room if one task takes longer than expected. The whole point of Zen is to enjoy what you're doing, so try not to rush through your life. Don't rationalize. Rationalization is defined as something where you apparently come up with rational explanations for certain behaviors. The point is to make that behavior seem optimal, even when it's not. However, the same definition could also lead you to conclude that rationalization essentially is the act of making excuses. Either way, rationalizing doesn't always help, which is why you need to avoid it. When you want to incorporate Zen habits into your life, you need to stop making excuses. As you've seen earlier, Zen does require a certain degree of discipline. So while missing one day of meditation won't derail your progress much, making it a habit certainly can. The biggest problem with skip days like these is that they eventually lead to quitting or giving up. The one-time exception then becomes the rule. Such getting off track can make it very difficult to get back on track. That's why Zen encourages establishing a daily routine, as we will see in an upcoming chapter. For now, let's talk a bit more about rationalization. You use rationalization when you try to justify less than optimal behavior or feelings. So what you're doing is finding a way to distort facts to make things appear better than they actually are. Here's something to think about. You say you're going to follow a diet plan, but that only lasts the first 3 days. Or you have every intention of going to the gym since you got a membership, but only do it once. So what happens here? A few possibilities could be that you aren't serious about it, you forget why it's important, or it becomes too difficult. You may also give up in disappointment, or you start to rationalize. When something becomes difficult, your mind rationalizes, telling you it's okay if you skip something once, or it's okay to have just one more since you worked so hard for it. While this may all sound reasonable, it starts to sabotage your plans. And once you start believing these rationalizations, sticking to anything becomes next to impossible. In this video, we'll talk about simplify your life. The world you live in today exposes you to many complications. At times you end up complicating life because of overthinking. Otherwise, you end up overspending, overworking, or even overcommitting. All in all, it's an effort to get too many things done in too short a time. Overdoing anything also complicates things, while Zen tries to teach you how to keep life simple. If you want to have a happy life, you have to learn the art of simplification. Going back to its original philosophy, this simply means keeping only the important things part of your life and removing the rest. If you think about your material possessions, getting rid of unwanted or unused stuff will certainly clear your space. This will give you peace of mind and make you happy to have a clean and open house to live in. Try not to fill it in with more unnecessary stuff, for that just kills the idea of simplification. But when you take the same idea to another level, simplifying life can also help you get through dark times. When you clear your mind of negativity and unruly thoughts that don't matter, you also provide space to your mind. This space will help you absorb things that are actually important. Clear out your mind by taking in only what keeps it fresh. Say if you're a book collector and keep on stocking books endlessly, there will come a time when you'll run out of space. You'll either have to stop buying new books or chuck out some old ones. Similarly, if you keep on adding unnecessary stress and things to your life, there will also come a time when you'll collapse. On the other hand, if you choose to select only what is important, you'll feel weightless and happier. How you want your life to be happy depends completely on your own choices. Here's another example to consider. Suppose you keep holding on to a grudge and dislike for someone. In the end, you'll only be wasting your time and energy dwelling over possible scenarios that might never take place. The only way you can overcome all this is to simplify your life by letting go of things that don't matter. Prioritize. Once again, let's start off with a reminder of what's most important to you. Make this your unequivocal priority and stick to it. Ideally, the structure of your daily life should be a reflection of your priorities. If you say that family is your priority, then make a commitment to spend a designated time with your spouse and kids. If you say health is a priority, then you should be doing everything you can for a healthier you. Are you truly staying away from bad or tempting foods and getting your daily dose of exercise, or are your other commitments getting in the way? When you prioritize, you need to be honest with yourself. What do you truly desire, and what is standing in your way? If you can honestly answer these two questions, you can start simplifying your life fairly easily. As you prioritize, you'll also be filtering out a lot of excess baggage. In other words, you'll be simplifying your life. It can become a process where you rearrange your life so that it closely reflects your priorities. If you long to spend more quality time with your kids and other significant half, then streamline your emails, put away your phone, or even cut back on your work hours. If you really want to paint, then clear out your room and make a studio space for yourself. Once you have prioritized your concerns, move on to the next step. Declutter. When you think declutter, you're thinking about physical as well as mental space. This is a process of purging where you get rid of everything that is meaningless in life or no longer offers a utility. You can start small by allotting 15 to 20 minutes of your day decluttering a chosen corner of your house. It could be a shelf or a cabinet. Stop after 15 minutes and come back to it the next day. Or you could assign one entire morning to clean out your pantry or wardrobe and get it over with. You can go with whichever method works for you best. As you purge, assign 3 boxes labeled trash, keep, and maybe. The first two should be simple enough if you follow this advice. Anything that you haven't used in the last year can go. You probably won't use it in the next year, too. Keep it if you use it all the time and it still has some years left in it. The maybe stash can be a bit tricky, but don't let it overwhelm you. This should be for things about which you're on the fence. Keep the box out of sight, and if you don't use it in the next 6 months, toss it out as well. The trick for success in decluttering is to be merciless. The less stuff you have, the fewer distractions there will be, and the simpler your life. You'll see that one of the things that give you true peace of mind is a clean, simple house. When you talk about decluttering your mind, you'll notice that overthinking exposes your mind to blockage. Because of overload at times, you are unable to think properly. You need to deal with this quickly, as it won't allow you to be happy for long. A blocked mind becomes unaware of anything happening around it. The stream of clutter you've accumulated in there turns your mental space into a chaotic mess. And soon enough, just like your closets and your cabinets, your mind needs tidying up as well. If you're not sure about what kind of mental clutter is holding you back, just think about these things. Worrying about the future, ruminating about the past, thinking of everyday routines, complaints and grudges, regrets, commitments. If these thoughts are constantly on your mind, you need to clean out some headspace. For starters, not everything needs attention. What's happened in the past is done and can't be undone. What the future holds is not entirely in your hands, so cross that bridge when you come to it. Any negative thoughts that you may be harboring need to go as well, for these will always hold you back. Build a positive skill set. You need to do more than just exist. You need to live. Most people think that existing is enough simply because they have too much going on with not enough time to get it done in. It keeps them so busy that they can't really bother with things like simplification. The problem with this scenario is that they miss out on the essence of life. To simplify means to indulge in a little bit of management. Manage your time and your life wisely so you develop a skill set of lifelong habits, organization, and punctuality. As you simplify things when starting or stopping a habit, it can make life easy. For example, if you want to join a gym, choose one that is close to home. This will make it more convenient for you to go there every day easily. If you choose one that's far away, not only will you spend a lot of time getting there, you may stop sooner than planned because of the distance. Likewise, keeping things simple can also teach you to become more organized. When you practice simplification, you learn how to manage things more efficiently. This reduces the element of wastage, and you not only learn how to save on costs, but also how to improve your overall living standards. And finally, when you complicate things, you also waste a lot of time. You overthink things that don't require attention and complicate them further. Simplifying such matters teaches you punctuality and the importance of time. By keeping things simple, you learn how to get them done well and on time.